What's good, Wizards fans? It's your host, the real Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. Today, we're going to react to Michael Winger and Will Dawkins' open training camp introductory press conference. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. And I'm here with my guy, Brandon Scott, and myself, the real Ed Oliver. Make sure you guys check out the Jase case. Today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. All right, so today Michael Winger and Will Dawkins had an introductory press conference. Training camp is about a week away. I can't wait. Super excited just for that. And then October 10th, they play the NBL team for the first preseason game, and then they got the fashion show next Wednesday. So just so many things going on and coming up within the next week or two. But what's one quote that stood out to you to start off? Of course, we're going to go over a couple of things that we heard that we liked, but what's the first thing that stood out to you, or one quote that stood out to you for the press conference?
Oh, yes, sir. One quote that really stood out to me was from Michael Winger, man, when he said, quote unquote, that he wanted to build a sustainable contender, not a one-hit wonder. That rings true to me because for so many reasons, but, the biggest thing underneath the Tommy Shepard in the last, was kind of building for the middle, not, trying to make the playoffs, but it was just a mess. They have a clear goal, which should be the ultimate goal for any team, which is a championship, a sustainable contender. That's exactly what we need here, man. That's what we want. We've been asking for contender status, not just trying to make the playoffs and get playoff money. No, they're trying to build a championship contender, not a one-hit wonder. So, that really rang true to me because their eyes are on the prize. And that's something I've been waiting for in DC for a long time as far as the Wizards, man, because it feels like forever we've just been playing to make the playoffs. No, they're trying to build a team to win a championship. So that definitely is a quote that really stood out to me, man, because, obviously, like I said, and I said it time and time again, man, that, the ultimate goal should be to win a championship, not for the playoffs. That was the biggest thing that I said, before Tommy Shepard got fired. I was like, look, man, we got to change focus here. So obviously, a lot, the new offseason unfolded. So that quote really tells me a lot about this front office, man. Their eyes are on the prize to bring us another championship. Because look, hey, we ain't won a championship since the 70s, bro. So look, they definitely have their head in the right place. I think you're on mute, bro.
Yeah, they know it's going to be somewhat of a lengthy rebuild. Hopefully, it's no more than 3 years. It could take 3 to 4 years. They've all been through rebuilds. Michael Winger was through a rebuild. Travis Schlenk went through a rebuild with the Hawks, and Will Dawkins went through a rebuild that they're still doing with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Trading Paul George, trading Russell Westbrook. So he's been through a lot with that organization, just what they had to do with Bradley Beal. So they know that they don't want to just chase, like you brought up, just chasing the 8th seed, chasing the play-in. They want to have sustainable success where they have a legitimate team where they know they're going to be competitive and making the playoffs each year. You look at a lot of the teams in the Eastern Conference, the Heat are in the playoffs. They're a perennial playoff team. The Bucks, Sixers, a lot of the teams that are atop of the Eastern Conference, they're there every single year. So that's the goal. That's what they're looking for. They're not just chasing the play-in and kind of throwing out a big three out there or quote unquote big three and rolling with that and saying that we're just going to make the playoffs. But one quote that stood out to me was the player development. And I really like that a lot because you look at the coaching staff. They just announced a new coaching staff. Yeah, he said it is ambitious on the vision for this is what Michael Winger said on the vision for the Wizards. It is ambitious and it is a very heavy lift. We want to build an organization that develops and can support a sustainably great team. We don't want to be a flash in the pan. Yeah, that's the one that you just said. And then where's the one that I found? It's from Will Dawkins, where he said he wants them to. He's hammering on player development. He said he asked the guys if they've been somewhere else and it worked for them, recommend it. That was him talking about. He said the people they hire this summer have that in their background and that it's a mindset, not a department. And that was him talking about the whole coaching staff that they brought in. Yesterday, they announced the new coaching staff. Weston Jr. commented about it. He said, with the additions we made during the offseason and the personnel that we have returning, I'm very confident that we have assembled a top-notch staff that will prioritize and facilitate internal growth and development for all our players, said Weston Jr. So Will Dawkins hammered that a lot today. He talked about, their diet, their families, their mental health, just making sure these guys are good and player development. He really hammered that home. So that's something that they're really stressing, that they really want to hit home. And I think, you look at the previous regime, I thought we had a couple good players, but the development wasn't there. And for some reasons, guys leave and get better. You look at Rue with the Lakers. And, guys just don't really hit their full potential here. Is there really a plan for guys to develop? Are they ready for the long haul and the long-term developing guys? You look at Bilal. Do they have a plan? He talked about diet, eating. Bilal, of course, has to put some weight on. And, he's still young, 18, so he has a long way to go. So I really do want to see their plan. And they hired David Vanderpool. They hired Brian Keefe. A lot of developmental coaches. And then looking at the write-up as well from the Washington Wizards website, they increased focus on player development will be led by Landon Tatum, who spent last season as an associate head coach of the Capital City Go-Go. He will be joined by player development assistants Ryan Lumpkin, Joe Ajik, Pete Facilero, butchering his name probably, and Daniel Villarreal will serve as Washington's head video coordinator along with assistant video coordinator. So, yeah, they really are hammering home player development, and they're hiring a staff really catered to player development. I think that's something that Ted wants. In this new front office, they really want to hammer home player development.
Yeah, I agree, man. They're making all of the right moves, man. All the moves we expected them to make, they're making the moves. Dude, they're building the foundation for a successful organization. They're looking at development. They're looking at the right coaches to back up West. They're trying to find the players to implement in the system. They're doing all the right things. I'm one of those guys. Look, I wanted to rebuild. I'm very happy. Now I get it. Might take 3 to 5. Cool. Because if 3 to 5 years of development leads to us being a contender for a decade, I have no problem with that because it's going to take time. But they're putting all the right steps in motion, man, to make this a very successful organization. Like you said, the coaches that they put in this coaching staff makes it a really good coaching staff. I mean, West has no more excuses. I mean, he's got coaches that know what they're doing. You got a coaching staff that is, in my opinion, a really good coaching staff. This front office, I say it all the time. 3 guys, the real big threes in the front office. You got 3 guys who easily could be GM their own team. So you have 3. I'm very excited. So yeah, I know we're going to talk about a couple more quotes, man, but just like I said, that Michael Winger quote really rang true to me because we're not playing just to make the plan, you know what I mean, or the AC. We're playing for the ultimate prize, and that's just something that we've wanted for a long time, man. We finally got it, so it's music to my ears, man.
Right, 100%. I mean, you said guys that can back up West. They may potentially be guys that could replace West if they want to move on from him and promote Brian Keefe and David Vanderpool. Kevin Durant said great things about Brian Keefe. Damian Lillard has said great things about David Vanderpool. So, it's a proven year for West. So, I mean, we could see them potentially promote these guys to a head coaching position in the near future before the year is over or in the next offseason. We'll see. But we're going to talk about some more quotes. They talked about Jordan Poole. They talked about Kyle Kuzma. They talked about the health of the team. So we're going to get to that. But before we do get to that, today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jase Medical offers the Jase Case. The Jase Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind so that you're not just hoping that you have access to medication in an emergency. Jase Medical makes sure you have the medication in hand. Jase Medical is simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication, delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. Get $20 off these life-saving antibiotics today from Jase Medical by using my code LOCKEDON at checkout on jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. All right, so I guess we'll go with the either the Jordan Poole one or the Kyle Kuzma one. That stood out to me. Let me see if I can find it here. There's so many quotes that I got written down. All right, so we'll talk about leadership first. So Will Dawkins and this shout out to Hoop District. They put out this tweet. I did listen to the press conferences. It was about an hour. I didn't get to listen to the whole thing, so I just got to look at some things online and some quotes and some short little cut ups here and there. But this from Hoop District. Will Dawkins on Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole's leadership. A quote was saying that quote. The thing that's impressed me so far the most is their willingness to bring the group together. Michael Winger was nodding in the video as well when Will Dawkins was talking. Quote, they've had guys come out to their summer homes and spend time with them out there, end quote. So what are your thoughts about that connection and chemistry that they're already building?
I'm yeah, I'm gonna keep it 100, man. It is a good sign. You know, they're building chemistry, they're building camaraderie. You're seeing all the right things as far as leadership from Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, you know, bringing him out to LA to work out. Him talking to Bilal Coulibaly on draft day. You know, Jordan Poole is showing his true colors, in my opinion, because obviously we knew about all the mess in Golden State, and obviously, a lot of ex-players had good things to say outside of Draymond Green. But you know, it's one thing to learn about a player and a narrative about a player from another organization. But from what I'm seeing a young guy who, you know, obviously he still has steps to take as far as his personal development, maturing. But in the basketball side of things, man, you know, a young guy who understands what he's getting himself into. Rebuilding team, you know, he's definitely guys going to be looking at him because, yeah, he's a young guy, but he's got championship experience. You know, he's got experience playing with future Hall of Famers. You know, so he's got a lot to teach being a young guy. So now I love what I see from Kuz and Jordan Poole as far as leadership, but I'm gonna be 100 with you. That's all and well, and I love to see that. But you know, maybe it's because I'm a Wizards fan, but I'm not ready to commit right now because we saw this last year. They were close. It was camaraderie, and then the year before there was, it looked like they were just going to gel well, and then, you got people knocking people out in the tunnel. So it's just like, I get the camaraderie in the beginning and the chemistry, and you definitely want to see that, especially from a young leader such as Jordan Poole. But I before I really make an assessment on the chemistry, I need to see them play on the court together. Because like I said, it's one of those things where, years past, we saw the chemistry, and then, like, especially last year when Caucus said, they were hanging out and stuff like that. And it just, I need to see a little bit more, but no, it's definitely a good sign. Jordan Poole has showed me a lot, coming over here from Golden State. I'm a big fan of Jordan Poole, man. And Kyle Kuzma, obviously we know he's a big leader. So yeah. And it kind of leads me to the next quote that I like, man. When Will Dawkins said that Poole is a pre-prime player. And I know that we both said, man, that, we both kind of brought up the point this offseason that he hasn't even hit his prime yet. I mean, this is a guy who, if you look at his sample size, he can play some ball, and he can play ball at an all-star level, and he hasn't even his prime yet. So that really puts a microscope on that trade, man, because the fact that you were able to obtain a young asset such as Jordan Poole, who is already playing at an NBA at an all-star level and hasn't even hit his prime, and who'd you trade him for? A 38-year-old point guard? I mean, it just shows you a lot about his front office, man. You're seeing competent decisions being made, man. And, the fact that they're bringing up development and this, I love what I'm hearing. So, yeah, as far as Poole, Kuzma, love what I see. Love the chemistry, love the leadership. And as far as him being pre-prime, yeah, I think we definitely found a diamond in the rough, man. I think he's going to be a future all-star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pre-prime comment definitely stood out because he's a guy that, I feel like he still has another step to reach. He's still a young guy. I mean, he's so talented.
Yeah.
He is going to have the ball in his hands more. And yeah, he said you'll see him play on the ball more. This is what Will Dawkins said. So I think we're going to see him play point. You saw him play point when you saw how successful he was when Steph Curry didn't play, the way he stepped up, averaged 25 points a game. You see him have big games in the playoffs, big games in the finals, 31 points against the Grizzlies in the Western Conference semis. They don't win that NBA Finals without Jordan Poole.
No.
So he had a up and down year last year. Some off the court things happened. The whole Draymond Green saga. So here he can just focus being a leader. Him and Kuzma getting the guys together. You brought up him calling Bilal Coulibaly when he got drafted. So you already see some of the maturity and the leadership coming out of Jordan Poole. So that's great to see in the all season. So yeah, I want to see him have that on ball role more. And they brought up Tyus Jones too. They said some great things about Tyus.
Yeah.
I like Tyus a lot. We talked about Tyus yesterday. I think Tyus is a good leader, is a great point guard. But I think, before the trade deadline, I do think Tyus is going to get traded. So after the trade deadline, I think they are going to have. I think Jordan Poole probably most likely is going to start a point guard. That's just something to look forward to in February if that does happen. But even when Tyus is here, I think there's going to be times where Jordan Poole is just going to be bringing the ball up. When he's cooking, he's hot. He's creating a lot of shots for the guys. I think him and Gaff are going to have a nice pick and roll duo when he's getting to the basket. Isolation plays for Jordan Poole. So there's going to be a lot of times where Jordan Poole is definitely going to be initiating the offense and just taking over games, step back shots, stuff like that. So yeah, there is another gear or another level that I think Jordan Poole certainly can reach.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that, and it kind of just hit me, man. But the fact that Jordan Poole and Tyus Jones are going to be bringing the ball up, how's that influence other players, especially a player who's on a contract deal?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know that Deni Avdija, which obviously this is a big year for him because this is an contract year for him. We know he's better with the ball in his hands. So do you think that the fact that this backcourt is going to be Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole, does that bring up the likelihood of Corey Kispert starting at the 3 more likely, and Deni being that kind of that ball handler in the second unit?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that would be better for Deni offensively. Now we need some defense with that starting five because Tyus and Jordan Poole, they're smaller guards. So Jordan Poole, you saw how much he struggled last year defensively in the playoffs against the Lakers. Tyus Jones is a smaller guard, so matchups like SGA, he's going to struggle with those. I mean, there's some really good point guards in the league. Steph Curry, Dame Lillard. We talked about that yesterday too, how many good point guards he's just going to have to guard and go up against. It's just a gauntlet of so many good point guards in the league. You can even say Darius Garland is a darn good point guard for the Cavaliers as well. Jalen Brunson in the East with the Knicks. So there's so many guys that Tyus is going to have to go up against and defend. So you just need another defender on the court with Deni. But yeah, offensively, I think it would be ideal for Deni to come off the bench. And that's the thing with development too. Like you have kind of a log jam at certain positions. So they preach a lot of development. So how many minutes is Landry Shamet going to get? Do they believe in Johnny Davis? What's their plan for Johnny Davis? Is there still a plan for Johnny Davis? They didn't draft Johnny Davis. So what do they want to see from him? Are they invested in giving him playing time? Are they invested in really giving him a chance? With Landry Shamet there, it may just be jumbled up and just kind of wonky and weird with the playing time. And then you look at Corey. Of course, Corey's going to play a lot. What's their plan with Corey? And then Deni is the huge question mark you brought up. I mean, it's a contract year for him. Are they really investing in Deni? It's a prove year for him. Are they going to give him an extension? I want to say the extension, the deadline is October 24th. So do they like with the film that they've seen enough to give him an extension? And then if not, then what's their plan with him? And then you got Wes, where Wes will play veterans over. He'll play Anthony Gill over some young guys. We've seen him do that before. He's starting Anthony Gill over Deni in a game. He's starting Anthony Gill over Rui in a game. So what's their developmental plan? Would they step in? If Wes wants to start, say, Anthony Gill over Deni one game or something like that, and this stuff we're not going to see behind the scenes. It's stuff that we wouldn't be able to see. Will Dawkins step in and be like, hey, no, I don't want you to do that. We want to see what Deni has. We want to give him 30, 35 minutes a game. We want to see what Johnny Davis can do. We want to give him 20 minutes a game. We want to make sure that these guys get this much playing time. What's their plan for Bilal? Does Bilal play a little bit in the G League? Usman Jiang played in the G League. I gotta look and see because a lot of the Thunder guys they have go to the G League. I wanted to look up before we started if Jalen Williams played. I know Jalen Williams had a heck of a rookie year, but I want to say he played a few games with the G League if I'm not mistaken. But I could be mistaken. Yeah, I don't think he did. I think Jalen Williams, the big man, played with the G League, but Jalen Williams did not. But I know Usman Jiang played with the G League roster. So I mean, I if I had a bet, I don't. It's a toss up if Bilal plays in the G League. I don't think he might. And it's not a bad thing if he plays in the G League, but I do want to see the developmental plan for some of the young guys like Rollins.
Yeah.
And but the big thing is really Deni. What's their plan for him? Are they gonna initiate more plays for Deni to initiate the offense and bring the ball up? So that's I do want to see them practice what they preach with development. It's going to be kind of hard to do that, but they kind of got their hands full with some developmental. and it's hard. It's hard to develop players.
Yeah.
So that's the improvement we want to see from the last era with Tommy Shepard and Ernie Grunfeld.
Yeah, and before I make my point, man, he did play 2022 to 2023 the Oklahoma City Blue. So he to kind of back up your point, he did play the G League. Usman Jiang. So yeah. So like you said, that's a good point. That's why I kind of look at everything like this, man. It's like BC and AD, right? It's like before the deadline, after the deadline. I see two different teams because they got to move off these expiring deals, and they're going to try to. So you best believe Shamet's going to get playing time over Johnny. But yeah, I think that brings up another good point, man. Do they give Bilal Coulibaly significant minutes before the deadline? Because there's just a logjam, man. I mean, especially the second unit when it comes to small forward. Do you play Kispert if Deni starts at small forward? If you play him with a 2-guard, then you're taking away minutes from Shamet and Johnny. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go forward with the second unit more. Because, it's definitely at the 3 is going to be between Corey Kispert, Deni Avia. And I think that Deni gets the nod just because of defense. And we'll see if the offensive side breaks out. Hopefully, with him working on it, he breaks out offensively. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting because, like I said, before the deadline, man, they're going to try to boost the value of a lot of these aspiring deals. After the deadline, it's going to be nothing but evaluating young talent. So, yeah, I think that's a big obstacle. I think definitely their eyes are on the prize as far as development. It's just these aspiring deals. You got to get moved. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they go forward with development, man, because that's the biggest thing about – and I hate to say small market because we're not a small market. We're actually a major market, man. But it's interesting to see a team where they're not really a big free agent destination. So you got to build through the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see how they build through the draft, man, because below Coulibaly, excuse me. He's definitely kind of an interesting prospect because he's got a high ceiling, but where's his floor too? So.
Right. Yeah, we saw the summer league, and Will Dawkins said in the press conference that they saw small improvements, small increments of improvements. Johnny Davis, did he shoot the ball well for the most summer league? No, he didn't. But in the last couple of games, he looked a lot better and more confident. So those are some small improvements that I did see from Johnny. It didn't show in the box score, but you just saw the way he moved. It was a little bit faster than what it was last year in the summer league. So I did like that. Bilal had some up and down games where he would, lose the ball, had a high handle, but you saw the blocks, the nasty blocks he had on defense, the game winner that he had against the Celtics, a couple of dunks that he had, some fast break dunks, a couple of and one. So, it was a roller coaster ride, but you saw some good things from Bilal. Last thing that stood out to me was Will Dawkins said that 1 through 19 had been in DC in the gym for the last 2 weeks, most since after Labor Day. All are healthy to start training camp next week. So that's huge. I mean, we usually go in there with an injury or two. I think last year everybody was healthy. I think Brad was healthy to start off the year.
Yeah,
Kuz was healthy. Porzingis had a pretty healthy year. And all the guys were pretty healthy for the most part. I think Brad had a couple safe and healthy health and safety protocols, and he had a couple injuries and was banged up a couple times. But other than that, we were pretty healthy for the most part. And you look at the roster right now. Jordan Poole played a lot of games. Kispert played a lot of games last year. Kuz played a lot of games. Gafford was in and out here and there, but he played over 50 games last year. So that's good. Knock on wood. Everybody's been here for the last 2 weeks. Guys are grinding. They're hungry. They're ready. They're in the gym. Saw the pictures of guys laughing and joking around. So that's good news there.
With you, man. Like I said, keep it 100, man. I love to see it. I love to see them working their butts off, getting there early, building that chemistry, building that camaraderie. I see the leadership. I'm loving it, man. And then now I'm ready to watch, ready for some ball, man. So, but for right now, I love what I'm seeing. I love the culture change that this team has gone through in such a short amount of time. Getting younger, actually having a goal, actually setting forth on that goal. So we're definitely making the right moves, man. So I'm excited. But like I said, I'm ready for some basketball, man.
Yeah, yes, sir. I am too, man. I can't wait. October 10th can't come fast enough. Was there any other quotes that stood out to you?
That was it, man. That was kind of the meat and potatoes that I got out of the press conference. And, and I'm glad you brought up the health thing because, like you said, years past, man, we always had 1 or 2 guys that were nursing an injury. And even with, the minor injury that Deni sustained in Israel, he's healthy. He's ready to rock. So,
right, yeah.
I mean, everything, the foundation is being laid, man. Everybody's coming into the season healthy, right frame of mind. So yeah, for right now, I love what I see, man. This team has really got the hit on straight. So let's get it.
Yeah. Gallinari's healthy as well, coming back from the ACL injury. Deni, like you said, he's healthy. He's ready to go. Last year, he had the setback in FIBA, so that's the one guy that did have an injury that he had a setback. So that's good for him because it's a contract year. He's coming in fully healthy. He did what they asked him to do. He didn't play. Saw a lot of stars play. I know how you feel about it. Luka played. The whole USA team, a lot of stars played, but a lot of big stars didn't play. That's why USA finished 4th and didn't even win. They didn't even get bronze. Canada.
I changed my mind, man.
Yeah,
I love FIBA now, man. I have no problem with the stars going over there now.
Shout out to FanDuel. I was wagering on FanDuel for FIBA as well.
Yeah, I have no problem with it now, bro. That's some good basketball, man. I mean, Team Canada. Right. I didn't realize so many cats were from Canada, man. I mean, that's a pipeline that there's a lot of talent coming out of Canada. Talking about just the international appeal of the NBA, man. That's the part of the NBA I love, man. Because take it back 25 years, man. Most of your talent came from the U.S. Like you had international players, but they were shooters from the former Yugoslavia. Where now, bro, you got Canada rocking out All-Stars. So I love it, man. I love what the state the game's in. So
yeah, I know you got some German history, or you're part German. So Germany, they won. Dennis Schroeder won the MVP. Franz Wagner was going off. Mo Wagner was going off, former Wizard, and Dylan Brooks put up 30 points against USA to get the bronze medal. So, but yeah, no, that's awesome that Deni's going to be healthy. So yeah, I'm pumped. I'm excited. So it's the honeymoon phase. So these guys got a lot of work to put in, a lot of ways, a long way to go. So I'm excited to see. So we talked about John. We'll wrap it up here, but we talked about the John Wall phase where we drafted him, got Bradley Beal, Otto Porter, 2010, 2011. They didn't make the playoffs until 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So they didn't make the playoffs until the 2013, 2014. So it took 3 or 4 years. So I think that's about right. It usually takes 3 to 4 years. So we just had to be prepared for and ready for that. But we just want to thank you guys for listening. Tomorrow we may talk about the unofficial depth chart or do a season preview. You guys can comment below for which you guys would are a player, an individual player season preview, expectations, goals, and bold predictions for a specific player, or we'll go over the unofficial depth chart for the Washington Wizards. You guys let us know what you guys would rather see us talk about tomorrow for tomorrow's episode. So I want to thank you guys once again for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit the notification bell. Hell to the Wizards. Peace.